Well, I'm very happy to be here, excited as well to be among all of you here in these holy days to earn the blessing of Virgin Mary. I would like to thank Father James, our father, our friend, for a long time for inviting me to be with you here today. So as usual, I come usually here and give you a speech about mental health. I'm a psychiatrist. I'm practicing for many years. But I'd like you to be awake with me and share with me and help me. I'm talking to you about an issue here. I did not talk about it before, okay? So I need your help. In the next 20 minutes, I would like to speak to you about an issue the majority of you are suffering from, if not all of you. An issue you suffered about before, maybe you're suffering about now, you will suffer about it in the future. I'm going to give you a clue and see how many of you will know what I'm talking about here. I'm going to talk to you about an issue that does not discriminate, affect all the generations, the young kids, the young adult, the mature people, the married, the single, the male and the female, the rich and the poor. I'm talking about an issue the Bible pays a lot of attention to. I'm talking to you about an issue Jesus Christ himself talked about it. Can any of you figure what I'm going to talk about today? Wow, you're already here. Very good. We'll talk about worry, fear, and anxiety. We all suffer from this. We all cannot get rid of it. So I would like to tell you a little bit about anxiety, fear, and worry. Anyone here worry about anything in his life? Oh my God, all of you? Okay. So let me take you through the worriness. The worry is actually an issue we're born with. So the young kid, before even they know how to talk, they cry when their parents take them to the school, preschool or nursery. They do cry. They worry about their parents will not come back to take him home. The young adults are very worried because they cannot find themselves where to fit in the group, male, female, school. They love him, they bully him, they're worried about themselves. The adults, they're very worried because they go through the change of life, their physical appearance, their voice change. They worry about their relationship, male and female. They worry about their future. So all the generation, no matter what, they have the illness of worriness, and the worry will lead to anxiety and fear, okay? We are the adult, the parents are always worried about their kids, about their money, about their job, about their future. Even the old people are worried about afterlife. Are we going to heaven or hell? They're worried about their afterlife. A lot of us worry about their appearance, how we look, how people consider us, how people look at us. So worry is a big issue here. Are you all agree with me? Okay. So now tonight or today, we would like to spend a few minutes, and we have limited time to talk, what is the consequences of worry? How can I maybe I'm not going to be able to get rid of my worry, how to minimize and control my worry. And that's what my subject today. Hopefully we're all going to benefit, come up with something we can use in the future to minimize, control, and limit, if not able to get rid of your worry completely. What happens if I don't do anything about worriness? What's the impact? What's going to happen to me if I don't pay attention? Well, you have to keep in mind that worry is going to suck you in. The more you worry, you will be more to worry. And the worry leads to fear and anxiety, depression, and many other illnesses. So you start small here, worry. If you don't get rid of it, it's going to grow up with you. It's like we call it in psychiatry, it's a spiral. You start here and you go through the spiral and you get more and more and more worry in your life. Okay, if you don't get treated, you're going to suffer from many things. Worry can affect you psychologically, mentally, and physically. Let's go over this quickly. What's the most important, I want to jump to treatment. How can we get rid of the worry and how can we control the worry? So first of all, mentally, if any of you worry, his focus, his concentration will deteriorate. His performance at work will deteriorate. His physical appearance, they don't shave, they don't care, deteriorate. Your relationship with your wife, your kids, your colleagues at work will deteriorate. People can see it. People will tell you, you don't look normal, you look like something wrong with you. Is that right? Because you worry. Your mind is somewhere else. So mentally, you're very much disturbed and separated from surrounding. Psychologically, it can lead to lack of sleep, lack of appetite, weight loss, nightmares. You wake up early at 5 in the morning, you think about the same issue you worry about, and it goes on and on and on. So there's a big physical harm if you don't control your worry, fear, and anxiety. Are you all with me? Anybody suffering from any of those symptoms? All of you laughing, huh? Definitely will worry about something. Okay. How we can deal with it? Anybody can give me an idea? How can we deal with our worry? We all worry all the time. We all worry about something in our life. Brain. Okay. We're on the right track here. Okay. Jesus himself said, do not worry. Okay? So praying is number one. There's many stories in the Bible tell us that a lot of people, they were worried. A lot of people were able to overcome their worriness. We'll go over a little bit of this. How are we going to control our worriness? There's two arms, two ways. But in fact, there is three tools we can use. Outside in the community, we have two ways to deal with worriness. People come to my office, half or more than half of the patients come to my office because they worry, they're suffering from worriness, seeking treatment, trying to find a way to control it. Sometimes they go on disability. They can't work anymore because of the worriness. So there's two tools. We're going to talk about how to control your worriness outside of our church. But when it comes to us here, we have another tool. We have so important. We have the Bible, which has the most effective way of controlling our worriness. Jesus himself talked about the worriness himself, and I want to share with you some of the verses from the Bible talking about how I can control my worriness. Okay? So let me read this for you. Jesus himself, from his own mouth, told us, peace is what I leave with you. It is my own peace that I gave you. You know, we read this. We don't pay attention. We don't digest this statement. If Jesus himself came and told you, peace is what I leave for you, so why you worry? Does that make any sense? We read it, but we don't really apply it. That's the problem. You work, you have a boss, you have a friend, you have a next neighbor bothering you, always in your case. So you always remember this statement, Lord is with me. I will not be afraid. What can man do to me? Can we ever think about that? Keep that in mind. Repeat that when you have any issue to worry about. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. How many of us worry about tomorrow? Nobody? You're good people, actually. You don't need me. Huh? We all worry about tomorrow. And that's a problem. Although it's in the Bible so clear. He said, therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. And Jesus said, peace is what I leave with you. Where is the peace in our life if we are worried all the time? This is really something we do not apply, and that's the problem. You all remember St. Paul, when he was in prison for many times, he did not worry about the prison. He did not worry about he's going to be killed or crucified. He was happy writing half of the disciples written by him when he was in the prison. Because if he's worried, he will not perform. But he was able to perform. He was able to come with something here. Jesus himself, the night before crucifixion, he went to the mountain and said, God bless this hour. He was not worried. He was praying. You know? If any of you go through this, will be very worried about tomorrow, judgment. But he was really comforted. and he turned whatever it can be worry to prayers. So we have to learn to follow the Bible. And another statement I want to share with you, verse said, truth is the Lord with all your heart, and lean not only on your understanding in your way, submit to him, and he will make your path straight. How many of us say, God, I leave your worry to you. You deal with it. I'm not going to worry about it. Those really, in my search in the Bible, I find about 103 verses talking about worry in the Bible. How many of those verses we keep in mind and apply in our life? So this is the spiritual part, which is not my part, but I want to share it with you. This is one tool we have in our Bible, in our church, as Christians, we can apply to control our worriness and anxiety and fear. People outside of our church, they don't have these privileges. We only have it ourselves. So let's go back to reality here of life outside of our church. We have other two arms we control our fear and our anxiety. The first one is you. The first tool you can use in your own to control your worry, you. Worry and fear is emotional. Something emotional is agony, is discomfort, okay? But all our emotions controlled by our thinking. So we have to just be with me. It's a little difficult time here, but we want to explain it as easy as possible. Your thinking controls your emotions. So you have to control your thinking. Once you start to worry, tell yourself, my worry will not change the situation. My worry is a waste of time and energy. My worry is exhausting me, will not change the outcome of the issue. So you have to control your thinking. Give you an example. If you're a parent and you have a child 16 years old, start to drive, go out to drive his car for the second time, you're sitting at home doing what? Very worried, okay? Is your worry will make him safer? No. Your worry will not make him safer. But your worry is emotional. You have to control your emotion, your thinking, okay? And this is the issue. A lot of kids, they go after their emotion without thinking. They go outside with their friend to smoke, to do bad things, because they're driven by their fear, emotions, by their desire. They're not thinking how harmful can be their behavior. We all have to understand that our thinking is the main factor. You have to control your mind. Your fear is coming from your thinking. So if you want to control your fear, which is emotional, your anxiety, which is emotional, you have to think to control how you think. How does your mind work? So first one, you have to control your thinking, and you have to say, my worry will not change the situation. Is that true? You just worry. You cause more damage. So you're not improving the situation. The outcome will be the same no matter how much you worry, right? Number two, you have to control your fear, because worry and anxiety comes with fear. The fear, because whenever you worry, first thing happens to you, you think about the negativity of what's going on. If your son go out for a drive, say, oh, he may have an accident, he may have a ticket, you always fear of the worst can happen. Why you don't think the opposite? Why you don't think positive? Why you think that's whatever happening is going to be, will have an outcome? Why you think positive? The fear coming from the negativity. We need to control our fear. So number one, you have to control our thinking, not to think negative, not to think that the worst can happen. Then the fear comes, and then the fear will make it a lot worse, and the fear feeds back into your worriness. So it's a vicious circle. The fear will go back to your worriness, the worriness increase your fear, and you become really in dilemma, what we call spiral in psychiatry. You just go worse and worse and worse. So number one, you have to control your thinking. Number two, you have to control your fear. And number three, a lot of us, we have the very bad Egyptian habit. You talk about your worry to people. You know, I'm worried, and it's not going to get well. I know the problem is going to be bigger. You start to talk about your worriness in a negative way. And more you talk about it in a negative way, more you feed yourself into more fear and anxiety, because your word will be heard through your ear, will go to your brain, and make the situation a lot worse. And this is a habit. Why me? Why is this happening to me? Why am I the only one who has to suffer? Why God give me this illness? And you start to be very worried. Why I don't have enough money? And when you say that, you feed yourself with more hopeless and helpless feeling. You feed yourself with negativity. So we need to learn how to phrase it in a more positive way. Hopefully this will come to a better outcome. Hopefully God will help me to solve this problem. I know I will leave it in hands of God, and God will deal with it, God's hands. So really, the problem that we verbalize a lot of hopeless statement, which is fear into worriness and feed into fear more and more. So this is a tool you can apply yourself in your situation. How I control my thinking, because my thinking control my emotions. How I control my fear, because my fear will lead to more worriness. How I control my verbalization of hopeless and helpless feeling, because I'm very worried. So you can use your own tools before you go ahead and seek a real treatment. Can you control your thinking? Is that easy or difficult? Difficult. Need a lot of training. Yes, a lot of training. You always think whatever you do controlled by your thinking. Okay? So we need to learn. It's going to take a little time, but you need to talk to yourself. I am worried. What am I worried about? You have to talk with your head, not your emotions. We get a lot of problems in our life because we follow our emotions and we don't follow our thinking. That's a problem. But overall, the Bible is number one. If you know the phrases, if you don't, just keep them in mind. You don't have to have a piece of paper like I do and read from. If you have one or two verses from the Bible talking about this, God himself say, do not worry. He said that. He knew. We're born with it. He came and stressed the point. Do not worry. I am surprised. The Bible has at least 1 and 3 verses talking about do not worry, but we still worry. Okay? And worry, as I said earlier, lead to a lot of consequences of damaging to our life, financially, health-wise. A lot of people get diabetes, hypertension, heart disease from worry. Worry is really a horrible issue. We all live in it. And I'm telling you, a lot of us worry, if not all of us. So we have to use the tool to control our worriness. So we talk about the Bible, which is privileges given to us from God, how to control our worry. We're talking about you have to control your thinking, your fear, and you don't verbalize the negative statements all the time. Okay, you did all of this. It's not working yet. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Come to my office then. Huh? I'm just kidding. 50 to 70% of the people come to the office, they are seeking treatment from an anxiety. An anxiety driven from worriness. So if we control things when it's small, it doesn't to grow up and become a disease. Okay? So what's the treatment then? There's 2 models of treatment. Now we're talking psychology here. There's psychotherapy or pharmacotherapy. Psychotherapy means talking therapy. You go to the therapist who is professional, knows what they're doing, start to teach you how to get rid of your anxiety, how to control your anxiety. How do you do that? Anybody know how they do that? Keep busy with something else. Very good. What else? Verbalizing. Vent. You don't have to go to therapy because most of the Egyptians don't like to go to therapy. Okay? Vent to your friend. Vent to Abuna. Vent. Sharing your thoughts. You will get the second thoughts. Usually they say 2 heads better than 1. Right? So verbalizing. Okay? Learn another tools. think about something positive in your life, so you don't have to wake up at 5 in the morning thinking about what am I worried about. What else? So psychotherapy really provides you with meditations. You know what's meditations? Relaxations, adaptations, acceptance. So we have a big problem, you have to accept it. You have to, don't be in denial. You have to accept your problem. So psychotherapy is very helpful to get into the point when you become strong enough to fight your worry, your anxiety. And if you don't, you're going to live in the dark. You're going to suffer. The issue will be bigger and bigger. You're going to develop psychological, mental, and physical illness from the worry and anxiety. Even if you worry, you can't remember anything you do. If you worry, you put your car key somewhere, you don't remember where did you put it, right? You put your wallet somewhere, you can't remember where did you put your wallet. You lose things because your focus has been disturbed big time because you're so worried about certain issue in your life. So you always need to think and tell yourself, worry is a spiral. It's going to take me down. It's not going to solve or change the outcome of whatever I'm worried about. So that's the psychotherapy part. Meditation, relaxation, acceptance, venting, think about something else is a good lead. And you have to speak about worry. Don't stuff it in. It built inside you, it will gonna harm you. The second treatment aspect is psychopharmacology, which we say medications. Okay? A lot of medications available in the market to help you overcome your worry and anxiety. Because when you worry too much for some time, your brain chemistry is changing. And if you don't believe that, science has been approved it. Your brain chemistry, the secretion of the hormones in the brain will change because of outside worriness. What's the evidence of that? A lot of evidence. When you worry, you don't eat. Why? Is that like a choice not to eat? No, because the chemical in the brain starts to prohibit your desire to eat. When you are worried, you lose your interest in your relationship. Why? Because this hormone has been disturbed. When you're worried, you don't sleep enough hours, or you sleep and you wake up at 5 in the morning immediately, suddenly, thinking about the issue you worry about. Why? Because the chemical in your brain has been changed. So believe me, we are Egyptian, we have hard time to believe that this is really true. Because you think I'm strong, I can get rid of it, I can overcome it on my own. This is not true. Why you suffer? Why you suffer? If you have tools to use, why you don't use? Use the Bible first of all. Put those verses I mentioned in your mind. See if it works. That will be the best tool. If not, think inside you. Say, am I going to change my thinking? Am I going to change the way I'm afraid of? Am I going to stop talking negative? You have to talk about yourself. If you can overcome with this, you're lucky, you're good, you're a strong person. If you can't, just come and seek help. It's a lot of help. You can have psychologists inside the church to help you. And if not, then go to your doctor and tell him, I am suffering before I lose everything. Some people end up in disability because of worry and anxiety. Some people end up in divorce because of worry and anxiety. So hopefully, you get attention to this. Bible never ignore this issue. Whenever you read the Psalms, you find the best healing. Psalms are full of statements to give you peace. Jesus himself talked about it and say, I'm leaving my peace with you. So what else we're waiting for? To worry by yourself? That's not fair. I want to remind you with 3 statements we heard it from our Bob Shenouda. Do you know what he said? During the time when Egypt was going through a very difficult time, what did he say? English? Absolutely. This is beautiful. You can put this in front of your eyes all the time. God is present. God is present all the time. God is present with us all the time. Okay? Everything happens in our life for a good reason. We see it as a bad, God meant good. And it takes us a lot to learn that. Sometimes we suffer from something and we complain to God, why me, and why me, and why this, why I didn't get your job, why I didn't marry this woman. Hey, God has his own plan for you. You remember the last verses? It will end. You remember the last one I told you? Submit your worry to God. He will make your path straight. He knows what's straight for you. And the last one he said, any problem you have in your life is going to come to an end. Don't worry about it. I don't want to say people go to prison for 25 years. It comes to an end. They come out. Sam Paul was in prison. It came to an end. He came out. So you need to have a faith, and you have to have control over yourself, and you have to seek treatment if you feel like you need it. And God bless all of you. Thank you for listening.